From the northeast come the sounds of mysterious drums and chanting. Mysterious-looking volcanic rocks dot this island. From the east come the sounds of mysterious drums and chanting. Alexander is standing in a small village. Arranged around him in a circle are houses built into the hollows of huge trees. In the center of the village is a fire pit. A communal fire pit occupies a place of honor in the center of the little village. The fire pit, naturally enough, contains coal. The coals are cold. That's odd, because Alexander definitely smells the smoke of an open fire close by. A wooden-handled scythe hangs against a bearskin on one of the tree houses. Alexander reaches into the fire pit and takes a lump of coal. Alexander takes the scythe. A horned animal skull is on display in the center of the village. Based on its central location, it may perhaps serve as ceremonial protection against danger. From the east come the sounds of mysterious drums and chanting. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander walks forward to step onto the gazebo. But the rose hedges on either side of the path, sensing an intruder's presence, reach out their vines and blend together. The path is blocked. The scythe has a long curved blade and a wooden handle. Alexander wields the scythe, determined to get past the magical rose hedges. The leaves fly as Alexander tries to cut the branches faster than they can grow back together. He sees light. He's through.
Who dares enter Beast's garden?
My name is Alexander. I didn't mean to disturb your private garden.
No. And yet, monsieur, you could hardly have accidentally broken through the 3 enchanted traps of the Isle of the Beast.
I suppose it is simply my nature to break through enchanted traps.
You must be a prince, then. I know the nature of princes all too well. This face you see before you is hideous, is it not?
Well, for the face of a beast, it is really quite noble.
Ha! I'm glad you like it, for you will soon own one just like it. I too was once a pretty prince, caring for nothing but adventuring and rescuing fair maidens. But I rankled one too many evil hags. One dark night, I was turned into this obscenity you see before you, warped in shape and trapped on this enchanted island over 100 years ago.
Surely there is a way off this island.
Oh, surely. You broke in, did you not? And yet think, where would I go clad so eloquently as I am with this silk and this pelt? You see, my prison is also my sanctuary. You are the first to break through the barriers in lo these many years. That is, except for the druids who stole my heirloom coat of arms.
If there's any way I can help...
Help? You? I'm afraid you don't understand. The enchanted barriers were a warning and protection for you more than for me. Your prize for forcing your way past them is to join me in this dire life. By the laws of this sorcery, you are doomed to be trapped in the form of a beast. Your reward for broaching this garden is to be my slave, a slave as beastly as I am. You have only a few hours of humanity left.
But that's not possible. There must be some way to break the enchantment. Spells always have a weakness somewhere.
The enchantment you are under is tied to my own. Oh, the sorceress left me a way out. But I'm afraid it was only her final bitter joke. You see, I need only find a maiden to join me here, to share my castle, my life, willingly. Take another look at me. You can't help but admire the hag's terrible cruelty and cunning.
I shall try to find such a maid, for Casima's sake.
Truly? How determined of you. I personally would not waste my last few hours as a man on an impossible errand. However, you may do as you please. I give you this token. It's my family ring, and the only heirloom I have left. If perchance you should... if you think you have found a maid...
I shall give her this ring.
Yes, she must accept it of her own free will. By doing so, she accepts me. Not that you shall find anyone, mind you. Your time is short. Count the minutes on your fingers while your fingers you have, pretty prince. Your master will await you.
A fountain in the middle of the clearing bubbles with fresh, glittering water. Beast's ring is made of pure, heavy gold and bears an insignia possibly related to Beast's princely past. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Looking at the serving girl reminds Alexander of the years he spent as a slave under the evil wizard Manannan. He wishes there was some way he could help her. She looks very shy and nervous as she tends her roses.
Good day, maid. My name is Alexander. How do you do?
I'm sorry, sir, but I'm not allowed to talk to strangers.
rose has a hue of the purest white.
Pardon me, maid. I hope you don't think me forward, but I see that you like roses. I thought you might, perhaps, like a fresh white rose.
Alexander can see the conflict in the girl's pretty face as she fights between her distrust of him and her desire for the white rose. The rose wins.
Oh, I shouldn't, sir, but it is so lovely. I've never seen a rose of white. It looks so pale and delicate. Wherever did you find one of such a color?
There are many hedges of them on the Isle of the Beast, and they grow together like magic.
Oh, truly? What an adventure that must be to see them. But I should not speak so, especially to a stranger. Thank you for the rose, though, kind sir.
Alexander has a thought about the serving girl. He decides to bring up the subject of Beast with her.
Let me tell you about the place where the white roses grow. The Isle of the Beast is an enchanted place. There's a path running through a deep forest. The path crosses 3 magic blockades, set to keep all visitors away. At the center lives a tremendous beast.
Really? Magic blockades? How exciting! What kind of a beast? Is it very terrifying and ferocious?
It is a beast that walks on 2 legs and dresses like a prince. It speaks with the voice of a man.
A beast that talks and wears clothes? How is that possible? Is the beast magic too?
Not magical, enchanted. Beast was once a prince, but a witch trapped him in the form of a beast and set him on the island. There he lives in a castle in the midst of a maze.
How terrible! Imagine how lonely he must be.
It is a very lonely prospect, isn't it? Oh, I have met him, you see. He is indeed ferocious, but who would not be?
He really exists? Oh, how it breaks my heart. If I could, I would tend to such a beast. Such a beast might find comfort in a kind face. Do you not think it so?
Oh, I think it's so. I very much think it's so. You would not be afraid of him?
Afraid? Maybe at first. But how silly of me to speak so. The roses in this little yard are the only magic I will ever see.
I could take you there. In fact, I would owe you my life if you would go. If you truly wish to go.
You are serious? I could leave here? Oh, I have always dreamt of leaving. But to actually go... This is the only home I have ever known.
Home is a hard place to leave, even if you're unhappy there.
But I will go. If I can help him, I must go.
Is there nothing you wish to take with you?
There is nothing.
Then take this ring. It is his. He will be pleased if you would wear it.
Why, it's the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. Thank you kindly, sir.
Beauty! Where do you think you're going?
To a place where roses grow, and to someone who truly needs me.
I see you wear my ring. You willingly agreed to spend your life here with me? Do you know what that means?
Yes, my lord, I do. I have been touched by your story.
Pity alone need not sentence you to endure this face.
Oh, but it is a gentle face, and kind.
You look at me so sweetly and are not repulsed. Oh, by the light of your eyes, my spirit soars. The enchantment! It is broken!
I am pleased to have served you, my lord. Do you still wish me to stay?
What? Speak not such nonsense, Beauty. Do you think that I learned nothing of true love during my time here? You are my queen.
Oh, my clothes! This gown!
How well it suits your noble heart.
Alexander, how can I ever repay you? I have nothing to offer except my gratitude. But please, take these old clothes. Perhaps you'll find someone in need during your travels.
You have already repaid me by your example of courage, Beauty, and by your friendship, I hope.
You will always have our friendship and loyalty, Prince Alexander. But from a fellow adventurer, take some advice. If you find your true love, protect her with your life. Fear all beasts without the redeeming humanity of love. And to aid you, accept my mirror. Now that my life is no longer hung in false shadows, I have no need for it. Give it to someone with nothing to fear from the truth it reveals.
Thank you. I wish you both well.
Come, Beauty. Let me take you home.
Alexander is carrying a book from the bookshop. The cover says, Ye Olde Spell Book. Alexander carefully reads the instructions for a spell entitled Magic Paint Spell. Alexander reads with interest the specifications for the Make Rain spell. Alexander browses the details of a spell that claims to be able to charm a creature of the night. This is the last page. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander picks up the bottle. The little bottle contains some sort of potion and bears a label saying, "Drink me." That's rather forward of it. Those snapdragons don't like Alexander getting so close. Zounds, those wallflowers sure are shy, and the snapdragons are awfully protective of them. Alexander can't even get close to the wallflowers without causing quite a stir. Alexander takes the teacup. The little china teacup is made of fine porcelain. The teacup is empty.
Your Highness may as well spend her royal time contemplating something else. The lump of coal shall be sent to the Castle of the Crown under my name, and that's all there is to it.
No, it shan't.
Yes, it shall.
If the coal is sent in your name, I shall royally decree a ban on all red on this isle.
You do, and I shall royally decree that white shall be henceforth used for all mopping up of cabbage stew.
You wouldn't dare!
Oh, wouldn't I?
Oh, it's you! Have you thought of any more of those brilliant ideas of yours?
I found the two of you another lump of coal so that you can stop fighting over the one you have.
Oh, let me see! A lump of coal! And what a beauty it is, too! Oh, marvelous! Now we can stop fighting, sister. Your Highness can just keep the old lump of coal, and I'll take this new one.
Quite right. That settles everything.
As a token of our endless esteem and royal favor, please accept this magnificent and truly incredible spoiled egg.
Thanks.
Let me see that lump of coal, Your Highness.
It is a beauty, isn't it?
Why, it's bigger than my lump of coal. Let me have it immediately.
Over my dead body, Your Highness. It's my lump of coal, and it is indeed larger and much grander. Just look at that sheen.
I demand you exchange with me immediately.
Alexander gives one of the baby's tears a bottle of milk. The other baby's tears seem to resent Alexander's gift for some reason. Alexander collects some of the baby's tears in the old hunter's lamp. A mushy swamp lies just off the path. It doesn't look like very good swimming.
What do you think you're doing?
You startled me. I was just getting some swamp ooze.
Well, you certainly won't get it there! That's not swamp ooze! That's swamp sludge!
He's right, you know. But he could be a little nicer about telling you. He's not a very pleasant stick in the mud.
Nobody asked you! Be quiet!
Oh, the trials of being a mere bump on a log.
Perhaps you could toss me some swamp ooze, since you seem to be able to recognize it. I can only reach this bit by the path.
Well, hoity-toity, look who's Mr. Wants so much! You think I got a job here passing around precious swamp matter? You should be so lucky! He's an utter waste of oxygen. I'd save my breath if I were you.
Who are you?
I'm Bump on a Log, and that's my brother, Stick in the Mud. We've had this thing about each other ever since our childhood. Mom always liked me best. She did not! That is absolutely not true! He's a bit lazy, you see. He's got the only swamp ooze in the swamp right next to him. But do you think he'd move a finger to help you get some? Hardly. He'd try to brain you with it more than likely. His temper's about the only thing that ever gets a workout, and that on yours truly. Oh, like you've moved at all in the last century! Like you're Mr. Physical Activity! Just because I can't reach anything, he thinks he can throw gushy swamp matter at me and just say whatever he likes. If only I could turn the tables on that heckler, he might learn some respect. But as you can see, I am a mere bump on a log and must be content with my lot. Oh, shut up! You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn even if you had something to throw! Just shut up! You see how he is?
The old rotten tomato gives Alexander a mean look and grumbles sourly.
I thought this might come in handy the next time your brother starts picking on you.
Aha! Finally, old Bump on the Log's not so defenseless, is he? Hey! Hey! What you doing there? Watch the pulp, would you? Now, Bumpy, remember all I've given you! The only thing you've ever given me is mud. Take this! No! Not into the swamp! Hey, okay, I give up. Geez, sorry. Well, I guess it's not very pleasant having things thrown at you. I'm sorry. You mean it? Really? Brother? Brother!
Stick in the Mud and Bump on a Log, exhausted from the battle, immediately doze off into naps. Rotten Tomato, being equally lazy, decides to join them. Rotten Tomato seems to enjoy this smelly, mucky swamp. He's napping next to his new partner in crime, Stick in the Mud.
How are you finding your new surroundings, Mr. Tomato?
Can't you see I'm snoozing? All right, you done good. Now, go play in the street or something. Yeah.
Alexander fills the teacup with the swamp ooze. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander decides to swallow the potion in the bottle labeled "Drink Me" to see what happens. Suddenly, his vision fades to black. His lungs become too heavy to breathe. His heartbeat slows. Then beats no more. Suddenly, his heart takes a lurch, then beats strong. His chest heaves like that of a newborn. His vision clears, and Alexander feels fine.
Phew. For a minute there, I thought, what if someone else had seen me and thought, "Zounds!"
Alexander takes a magnificent white rose from the rose hedges. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander holds out the rose, hoping that the bird will deliver it to Cosima. The nightingale takes the rose and heads for the castle once more.
A white rose, how beautiful. It must be from Alexander. How I wish that I could see him with my own eyes, but Abdul will never allow it. He only risks capture by sending me these things, dear to my heart though they are. Fly elsewhere, my pretty friend. Do not endanger Prince Alexander again by taking tokens from his hand. Forgive me, Alexander, and forget me. I cannot return your love, for fear that I shall never leave this castle again.
Alexander waits in vain for Cosima's nightingale to return, but the bird does not. Could there be something wrong? Or does Cosima simply not welcome his attentions further?
Good day, Prince Alexander.
Alexander suddenly gets a very sneaky idea.
I can't go on anymore. Without Cosima, I'd just rather not live.
Prince Alex, no!
It's true. The Wazir has beaten me. I give up. Poison is my last resort.
Stop!
I am no more.
Oh, what a waste. The poor young fool.
He's dead. He's dead. Wait until Abdul hears. He'll be so pleased. I told you not to pop in like that. You can learn to knock like everybody else. Sorry, Master. I couldn't help myself. I have great news. Well, what is it? Prince Alexander is dead. He killed himself in despair over losing Cassima. What? Are you positive? That young man has proven to be most devious. I saw the whole thing myself, Master. He was really and truly quite dead. If what you say is true, it shall be most convenient. You've spent enough time on that little irritant. We must start thinking about the wedding. Anything, Master? Oh, I do love weddings. Well, we do want you to look your prettiest, don't we? Now, Shamir Shamazel, to the lamp with you. Prepare yourself as we discussed.
Alexander's heart lurches to life in his chest.
Prince Alex! But you were...
Sorry, friend. I was doing a little acting, I'm afraid.
Ah, of course, the strange cloaked man. You are quite clever, and a bit too exciting for an old man.
Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. The small vial contains the oracle's sacred water. The water has a crystalline appearance. Alexander pours the contents of the oracle's vial into the hunter's lamp with the baby's tears. The vial, now empty of its sacred fluid, disintegrates. Alexander fills the hunter's lamp to the brim with the fountain water. Alexander prepares to enchant the hunter's lamp with the Make Rain spell incantation.
Clouds of thunder, shafts of light, come and sup with me tonight. Waters 3 have I for tea, brew a tempest now for me.
The lamp in Alexander's hand gives a little perk. He hopes the spell works despite his makeshift teapot. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation.
Great gods! Did you see that? The man just appeared from nowhere.
Perhaps he was sent by the spirits. I see no boat.
He is an intruder, no matter how he got here. Grab him!
Not again. Look, I'll leave. It's no problem.
I think not. Let's go.
Alexander is frozen at the spectacle before him. Robed figures are gathered around a bonfire. Some mystical ceremony is taking place, but as to its purpose, Alexander has no clue.
We found a trespasser on the beach, Archdruid.
Uh-oh. Archdruid. Now what has Alexander wandered into?
This must be the foreigner we were warned about. How appropriate that he should come during our rain festival. Place him in the sacrificial cage.
Wait! I must rescue the princess!
There's an ancient druid saying, a man who would save others must first save himself.
Alexander is pushed into the confining wicker cage. And the cage is swung out over the bonfire. Alexander starts to feel a little warm. The bottom of the cage is getting uncomfortably hot. This cage is really hot. Fire in the cage! Alexander pulls out Beauty's old slave clothes, desperate to beat out the flames. The flame is extinguished, but the clothes themselves burn to cinders. Alexander won't be able to keep the cage from igniting for long. The heat and movement must have jarred something. Something that Alexander's carrying is starting to jiggle around. Egad, something's really percolating. The water in Alexander's lamp is hot. It's just about boiling. Alexander feels a drop. It starts to rain.
That man is a powerful nature wizard. By the sacred oak, let him down! I must apologize for our rude welcoming committee. We've been feeling inhospitable ever since the winged ones stole our sacred miniature oak tree. Besides, Wizir Al-Hazred sent a message that we were to watch out for a highly dangerous foreign assassin. I assume you are the one he meant.
I'm sure I'm precisely who he meant. I assure you, I mean to harm no one, unless that person threatens the princess. I'm sorry to have disrupted your ceremony, but I'm running out of time.
What is it that you seek?
The oracle on the Isle of the Sacred Mountain told me I should speak to you about the realm of the dead. She told me of 2 souls in unrest there that I might be able to free.
Free souls in the realm of the dead? You're mad!
The souls might be able to help me on my mission to save the princess. It's imperative that I do everything I can. The risks are not important.
No. And yet getting yourself killed will hardly help the princess. But I will tell you what I know. Legend has it that it is the right of any human to challenge the Lord of the Dead in order to save his own life or the life of another already past. But the knowledge of how to do this was lost centuries ago. I have only heard of one who tried it, a young knight who came to the land of the Green Isles from a distant land long ago. According to the story, he was determined to challenge the Lord of the Dead for the soul of his dead lover. It is said that he tamed the Lord of the Dead's horse, a black-winged, demon-hearted beast named Nightmare. Nightmare sometimes flies to the human world to feed on certain noxious plants. Those unfortunate enough to see her are glad to escape with their very souls intact. Somehow the knight captured Nightmare and rode off on her back, supposedly to the realm of the dead. But neither the knight nor his lover ever returned. If there was a means for challenge, it was lost with the night.
I see. Can you tell me anything about the Lord of the Dead?
Ah, that is a blacker matter still. To the Druids, he is Samhain, Lord of Coldness and Despair. Samhain was once a man like you or I, but he insulted the gods and was sentenced to rule the underworld. Immortal he is and mateless, robbed of sleep, robbed of movement, robbed of companionship. It is said that he hates all mortals even more for the mortality that he lost. That is all I know.
Interesting. I shall remember.
Now look how the oak embers of our bonfire still glow hot despite the rain. If you're bent on your course, you'll need courage that's just as impervious to the chill. May your luck last longer than your storm, brave one.
May it indeed. Thank you, Archdruid.
The embers from the bonfire are still smoldering despite the rain. The wicker cage that was to be Alexander's fiery coffin is now lying on the ground. Alexander is glad to be out of that cage. Alexander wants nothing more to do with that wicker cage. Alexander is carrying a human skull. Alexander scoops up some of the red-hot embers in the ancient human skull. Alexander is carrying a human skull filled with embers. The embers are glowing with heat. Alexander examines the red ribbon and finds a strand of long black hair. The strand of hair from the red ribbon is the color of midnight. Alexander can only hope that it belongs to his true love. Alexander cracks the spoiled egg and dumps it into the skull containing the embers. The spoiled egg hisses as it makes contact with the hot embers. Zounds, the steam! Phew, the smell of sulfur! Alexander puts the strand of hair into the skull containing the embers and the spoiled egg. Alexander pulls out his magic map. Alexander feels a strange pulling sensation. Alexander arrives at the top of the cliffs, somewhat winded after his long but uneventful climb. A mighty winged horse, the color of midnight, is feeding from the nightshade bush. The creature must be Nightmare, the one the Druids spoke about.
Calm down, girl.
Nightmare ignores Alexander. Alexander solemnly speaks the incantation over the skull.
Creature of night, to me succumb. Fire and brimstone leave thee numb. Purity bind thee like a chain, to do whate'er I now ordain.
Nightmare flares her nostrils at the scent of the fire and brimstone.
That's it. Come on. I need passage to your homeland, fiery one.
Unable to resist the power of the enchanted smell, Nightmare approaches Alexander. Her eyes appear glassy and sightless. In her hypnotized state, she is unaware of the humans so close to her flank, or of anything at all except that marvelous smell.
Now ride!